the stability of the sector. While the previous government took steps to stabilize the sector, many are still waiting to see if the current government will restore the licenses of affected banks and investigate expenditures during the cleanup. In the communications sector, the SIM registration process has been a major talking point. While the previous government explained that the process was aimed at enhancing national security and preventing fraud, the current government has raised concerns about the process. Minister Samuel Nate George has announced plans for a fresh SIM card re-registration exercise.
I think it was wickedness of the highest order to subject Ghanaians to long hours of queues, taking away productive man hours affecting our economy, to go and queue again and resubmit biometrics, simply because egos could not be managed. We will do a proper SIM re-registration again, but this time, nobody's going to queue.
But will this issue be addressed in the upcoming State of the Nation address? In the information technology sector, Ghana has seen rapid growth. While the Mahama administration has promised to launch a digital jobs initiative to create 300,000 job opportunities for youth, it remains to be seen whether President Mahama will reaffirm this commitment in the State of the Nation address. In the hospitality and tourism sectors, although Ghana has faced challenges, initiatives like the Year of Return have shown promise. The big question now is whether the government will sustain this initiative and what plans are in place to ensure its progression. Ghana's retail sector is a significant contributor to the economy. However, the sector faces challenges such as high operating costs and competition from foreign retailers, as well as high taxes and utility bills. But many have high hopes, as government has already promised to scrap the e-levy, COVID levy, 10% levy on bet winnings, and emissions levy and import duty on vehicles and equipment imported into the country for industrial and agricultural purposes. As we await the State of the Nation address, it is the expectation of many that the government will introduce policies and initiatives to alleviate citizens from economic hardship. Judith Brown, TV3 News.
Joining us now is Felix Kwesi Ofosu, who is Minister of State in charge of Government Communications, and he also doubles as the spokesperson to President John Dramani Mahama. Good evening, Felix, and thank you for your time. Hello, Mr. Ofosu Kwesi. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Great. Thank you for joining us on TV3. To start with, how far with preparations at the office of the President ahead of tomorrow?
Well, all is set for President Mohammed's maiden State of the Nation's address and this iteration of his presidency. All preparations have been concluded, and we expect that at 10 a.m. tomorrow, he will be on hand to deliver a message on the State of the Nation in accordance with Article 67 of the 1992 Constitution.
Right. There are high expectations, regarding what the true state of the nation is, where, for instance, the president himself has said the day he met Labour, he described the country or the economy as a crime scene. And so people are already conjecturing that it looks as though the revelations tomorrow are going to be quite shocking. Should that be the expectation of Ghanaians? Hello, Felix. We seem to be having a slight connection problem to Felix Kwesi Ofosu, who is the presidential spokesperson, and also he's the government minister, the Minister of State in charge of Government Communications. We're just trying to put a few questions to him ahead of President Mahama's appearance before Parliament tomorrow to tell Parliament and by extension the entire Ghanaian populace about the true state of the economy. You would recall that about 2 months ago, in the latter part of President Akufo-Addo's reign, he also addressed Parliament and told Ghanaians what the exact state of the nation was. So the expectation is how do we compare what Nana Akufo-Addo said and what President Mahama will be saying? And that's one of the questions I'm putting to Mr. Kwesi Ofosu, who has thankfully joined us again. So, Felix, before we lost you, I was asking that President Mahama, when he met Labour, hinted that the current economy is in a very shocking state where he used the word a crime scene. He said the country is a crime scene. So people are already having this perception we are in a very serious or precarious situation. Is that the expectation or revelation we should expect tomorrow?
Well, I think that all Ghanaians have known for quite some time that the economy is in terrible shape. And in fact, if you observe the pattern of voting in the 2024 elections and the sheer size of President Mahama's mandates, it is quite clear that people were dissatisfied with economic conditions and had had enough of the hardships that they had endured over the period. So we have never been in doubt about the state of the economy, except that, of course, you can only be abreast of the exact situation once you take over power. And as I speak, we are still going through the books to see what the situation is. So tomorrow, President Mahama will give an account of what he meant. But more importantly, he would also put forward his program, which then would remind everybody that he has come into government prepared to address the problems that were identified when we were in power, even if the problems appear to have been more compounded than we had initially believed.
And the third question I have for you would be the fact that the minority NPP has on a number of occasions also hinted of heckling the president because they say the president will be coming on Thursday. Even today, there was, a proposal to that level of the NPP saying that they are awaiting or looking forward to the president's appearance before Parliament. And there are those who are already thinking that it could be heckling based on what we've seen in the last few days in Parliament. Are there plans, if that happens, for the president? How is he going to maneuver his way in delivering the State of the Nation address if that does happen?
Well, if, as you say, there's predetermined heckling by the MPP, that would be unfortunate. It would be their loss, really. The fact is that President Mahama is a vastly experienced politician and statesman. Mind you, he once served as MP for Bole Bamboy, and so he's quite familiar with parliamentary practice and parliamentary shenanigans. So I'm not sure that that would in any way, shape or form hinder his capacity to live up to expectations tomorrow. So if the MPP has planned to heckle for no reason other than heckling sake, I'm not sure that it would thwart President Mahama's ability to speak to the nation in a manner that enables them to appreciate the true state of affairs.
Felix, thank you so much for your time this evening. Certainly we'll be talking a bit more after the delivery of the State of the Nation address. Felix Kwesi Ofosu is government spokesperson, presidential spokesperson and communications manager of the Ghanaian presidency. Thank you for your time.
Meanwhile, the Trades Union Congress has called on President Mahama to suspend the decision to dismiss workers in the public service. According to the TUC, the president should consider that organized labor painfully accepted the 10% salary increment based on his plea, and that it's time for him to also listen to labor and halt the dismissals.
Already, some workers in the public institutions and agencies have been dismissed. More than 1,000 staff of the NEIP have since been sacked, while others are still being considered by their respective ministries of their fate. The situation has disappointed the leadership of the Trades Union Congress. Its Deputy Secretary General, Dr. Kwablanyaku Otu, has called on the president to rescind his decision. He said, since organized labor agreed to the 10% salary increment, the president should also listen to them.
Beyond the statement that we have issued, and we are hoping that the president will listen to us, will just like we agreed with him when he pleaded with us over the wage negotiations, we are hoping that he will also accept our plea on behalf of these young men and women. And we believe that once he does that, he has set a certain tone going forward. He's really drawn the line in the sand that this should not be allowed to happen again. And in fact, it will be a good reset for the politics of this country going forward.
He called for a review of the Transition Act.
We now have a president whose main agenda is to reset Ghana. And we will stand on that to work with President Mahama to make sure that the resetting occurs in all of these areas. People respect the rules, the procedures when it comes to appointment into the public service. Yeah.
And once organized labor accepted the 10%, the president should also listen to you.
And we are hoping that he will listen to us just like we listen to him.
Currently, the management of the Precious Mineral Mining Company, PMMC, are contemplating whether to dismiss some 50 workers or not. These workers are located in Kumasi, Bole, and Takwa. The General Secretary of the Ghana Mine Workers Union, Abdul Mumin Bana, has indicated plans to engage the management to address the problem.
In respect of PMMC, there has been some contemplation of the kind. They have indicated to the union. What we have told them as a preliminary response is to say that, look, the laws are available. Ensure that whatever your intentions are, you do so in accordance with law. Anything contrary to law, the Ghana Mine Workers Union will resist it.
He was, however, concerned about appointment done after the December election.
It's important that even though these recruitments were done and the timing was clearly not the best, it is also not the reason why the current president, led by John Mahama, the current president, John Mahama, should go down a similar route. I think that the expectation of organized labor and by extension the TUC, Ghana Mine Workers Union, would have been for the current administration to do a thorough audit of the system.
Organized labor has demanded that President Mahama outline measures to address the cost of living and steps to reinstate those who have been dismissed in the public service. Ahead of the State of the Nation address on Thursday, leadership of organized labor says the president should also indicate how jobs will be created under his tenure. They spoke to Daniel Opoku.
President John Dramani Mahama is expected to present to Parliament the State of the Nation address. Ahead of his presentation, leadership of organized labor have expressed concerns about happenings in the country. They contend President Mahama should consider measures to revive the economy. The Deputy Secretary General of the TUC, Dr. Kwabranya Kotu, said the president should be firm in his initiatives.
In the realm of labor market, I've spoken about the employment crisis we face. We need to address that. But he must also talk about his resetting of the wage system in Ghana. He's talked about establishing an emoluments committee. We need to address the large disparities in earnings, particularly in the public sector, to make sure that some people don't earn 100,000, whilst others are earning just 600 Ghana cedis.
The General Secretary of Ghana Mine Workers Union, Abdul Mumin Bana, expects the president to outline measures in addressing cost of living and expenditure. He said the president should again consider addressing challenges with wages of workers.
In this country, productivity is really, really very low, particularly in the public sector. And so I want that to go hand in hand, such that when you increase salaries, it should be commensurate, with productivity. Other advanced economies have gone on that route. They just don't negotiate in the vacuum. They negotiate based on, overall productivity, for the period and the review.
The General Secretary of the Ghana National Association of Teachers, Thomas Tanku Musa, appealed to the president to indicate how education will be financed.
Grading of the teacher, reactivation of the teacher, those in the deprived areas, their welfare, and among other things, the promotion from the deputy director to director 2 and all that. These things have been in the pipeline. We've been talking about it. Okay, and I hope that the president will find space in his speech to address these concerns of the
union leaders were emphatic. President Mahama should indicate how the revocation of appointments of those in the public service.
If you come into power, show forth you have repented, so you show forth the fruit of your repentance. That is all the promises that you have made. If you are in opposition, you confess your sins and you ask for forgiveness. If one day Ghanaians decide to forgive you, then they bring you back. If they don't, you will be there.
Do stay with TV3 as we bring you live coverage of the State of the Nation address tomorrow. In more news tonight, the Minister of Lands and Natural Resources, Emmanuel Kofi-Boa, has insisted that the illegal mining menace is a crisis that the government is committed to fighting at all levels. He urged members of parliament to get involved at their various constituencies in order to ensure the forest and other natural resources are preserved for future generations.
44 out of 288 forest reserves are reportedly under serious threats. 5,000 hectares of forest areas are reported to be heavily degraded. In terms of water, the permissible turbidity level, which is below 500, is now between 5,000 and 12,000 NTU. Sector Minister Emmanuel Kofi-Boa says the country has a crisis at hand.
This fight is no longer about the small boys. This fight must get to the root, the financiers, the big guys, the unseen faces who do not worry about where that source of money is coming. We must find them and shame them.
The Lands and Natural Resources Ministry brought together members of parliament to sensitize them and discuss strategic plans and activities aimed at promoting responsible small-scale mining at their various constituencies. He says a number of measures are being put in place to restore the degraded forest and land.
We are expeditiously reviewing the licensing regime to ensure a streamlined process so that those who meet the legal and environmental requirements are granted permits. We are proposing a local permitting and policing unit. We have to find a way to decentralize the process.
The Vice President, Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman, lamented the level of devastation of water bodies and forest lands and called for a collective effort.
The public outcry on this issue is testament to the urgency with which we must act. The government of Ghana recognizes that restoring responsible mining practices require a multi-stakeholder approach. And this is why we have outlined deliberate steps to curb the illegal mining, regulate the sector effectively, and ensure that small-scale mining is conducted in a manner that benefits the economy and the local communities without compromising the environment.
Speaker of Parliament Alban Bagbin promised the sector minister that Parliament would not shield any MP involved in galamsey.
Other governments have failed. They have failed because they did not get the proper prescription. This government cannot afford to fail. It will lead to hopelessness.
Chief Executive Officer of Cocoa Board, Dr. Randy Abe, expressed worry over an indication by the European Union and Japan to start testing for heavy metals in cocoa beans.
The European Union and Japan have indicated that from September this year, they will begin testing for heavy metals, especially nickel, as far as our cocoa is concerned. North America and most parts of Asia will follow shortly. And as a result of this, Cocoa Board will have to spend lots and lots of money to put up state-of-the-art laboratories at the Quality Control Center at Tema to be able to meet the standards and to be able to test for these heavy metals.
Let's do some politics now. The Electoral Commission chair, Madam Jean Mensah, has announced the commencement of a thorough bottom-up review of its performance in the 2024 general elections. The exercise, according to the EC, will be in-depth assessment of the electoral process, examining every facet from planning to execution. Chairperson of the Commission, Madam Jean Mensah, made the revelation at the Commission's first IPAC meeting of the year.
At the first Inter-Party Advisory Committee meeting of 2025, the EC Chairperson Jean Mensah asserted that the outcome of the elections was a testament to the Commission's competence and ability to deliver credible goals.
The outcomes are indeed an attestation. It is also a confirmation that the Electoral Commission of Ghana can be trusted.
She was quick to clarify that this maiden IPAC meeting was not intended for a deep dive into the electoral process, but rather an opportunity for stakeholders to reconnect.
Today's meeting is really just to reconvene. We are not gathered here to have a thorough, in-depth discussion on the 2024 election. We just wanted to see your faces. The last time we saw your faces, everybody had anxiety on their faces.
In a moment that caught the attention of many in the room, Jean Mensah unreservedly congratulated the National Democratic Congress on its victory.
I would like, on behalf of the Electoral Commission, present heartfelt congratulations to the National Democratic Congress. You won the elections of 2024 without a shadow of doubt. As they say, nothing missing, nothing broken. To their competitors, the New Patriotic Party, and to all other political parties and independent candidates, we say better luck next time.
Looking ahead, she assured political parties that the EC would, in the coming days, engage them in a comprehensive discussion covering every aspect of the elections from A to Z.
We've started a bottom-up approach where we've started from, our field officers, our district officers, all the way to the regional level to undertake a thorough and in-depth examination and assessment. In the coming weeks, the Commission will hold a meeting with a view to having, a discussion on the elections.
But even as the EC chair sought to steer the meeting toward general electoral reflections, one issue proved unavoidable: the lingering dispute over the Ablekuma North parliamentary results. Jean Mensah acknowledged that the Commission was actively working to resolve the impasse. But before she could even bring the matter to a close, representatives of the two dominant political parties, the NPP and the NDC, they were eager to weigh in.
We will have a meeting. We will bring the two candidates and their parties together, and we'll have a meeting to discuss it.
There's no way we can meet at this board, the first time IPAC meeting 2025, and will not discuss the only constituency remaining in parliamentary elections. We don't know when we are going to have a meeting.
With the EC now set to engage political parties in a post-election review, stakeholders will be watching closely to see how the Commission navigates both praise and criticism in shaping the future of Ghana's electoral process. Noble Crosby-Annan, Electoral Commission Headquarters, Accra.
Away from the Electoral Commission, the suspect in the shooting incident that led to the death of Laurentia Bole in Nungua, Samuel Ejei, has been charged with 2 counts of unlawful possession of firearms and murder. The accused person was arraigned before the Teshe Nungua District Court. Sarah Apenkro was in court and has more in this report.
The suspect, Samuel Ejei, was brought to the Teshe Nungua District Court 2, accompanied by the CID in charge of the case at the Nungua District Police Station. He is standing trial for the murder of Laurentia Adole Nelson, who was shot in the thigh by the alleged suspect during her installment ceremony as the Queen of the Gadangbe Muslim Union, Na Gamu, Nungua West Branch on Saturday, February 22. The prosecution prayed for more time to finalize investigations and forward the dockets to the Attorney General for advice. The court then granted the request and adjourned to March 12. Family and friends of the accused maintained that the act was an accident.
It's not his first time, okay? This is not his first time. He has been doing that even when they have these festivals in the Nungua township. Okay. Yeah, so it's not his first time. So I think it's one of those things. To me, if you want to kill somebody, will you even shoot the the tie of someone is an accident. We coming here even seeing the charge now that it's a murder case. No, this even at West it may be manslaughter or something. Yeah, you see, it shouldn't be murder. When you watch the video, you can go and play back the video again. The gun, he just shot the person and then he was still standing. He didn't even know what has happened until the police came to him. So that the first moment, even when they hold him, he tried to resist them. That what have I done? So it can be, it's a spiritual something.
A close friend to the accused, Ray Afotodai, is pleading for leniency from the judge.
He started the first day, he went successful. Second day, he went successful. So even the third one, he was at work. So they called him that another one is going on, so he should come and help them. Those who are saying he has killed someone, it's not true. It's an accident. It can happen to anybody. So we should all learn from this, and we are praying that the court will be. It's true that the person has passed on, but our condolence to the family, of the deceased, but no amount, nothing can pay. It's also a young thing starting life. We are just praying he comes out of this.
We have more news coming with us.
One bucket of Flamingo paint is equal to several buckets of any other paint brand on the market. Flamingo paint, superior durability, superior hiding, superior coverage. Flamingo paint, simply superior. One bucket of Flamingo paint is equal to several buckets of any other paint brand on the market. Flamingo paint, superior durability, superior hiding, superior coverage. Flamingo paint, simply superior.
Hello, my friends. My name is Caucus Toothpaste. Wow. I was made to be gentle on your gum, but protected. I will protect your teeth from cavity, make your teeth whiter, stronger, keep your mouth fresh all day. And best of all, I'm strawberry flavored. So put on a smile and try me.
That's amazing.
Just try me. That's my job.
If you say so, jump on my brush. Makes your teeth stronger, chicky whiter, chicky stronger. Yay! You did it!
I'm glad you like your new toothpaste. Don't forget to brush both day and night.
Caucus, happy smile.
Every child is so unique.
You like no other.
Outstanding in every way.
It's me like no other.
So anytime you walk and play,
you like no other.
You are special like Indomie.
It's me like no other.
Did you know that every child on the planet has their own unique fingerprint like no other?
You like no other. I can play the drums. I'm talented. It's me like no other. I can sing. I can dance. You like no other.
As well as their own unique talents and abilities.
I can cook. I can paint. You like no other. Indomie. It's you like no other.
So every day, in whatever you do, remember you are special in your own way, like no other.
Thank you, Mom, for letting me know I'm special and for making me my special Indomie.
Thank you, Mommy. I love my Indomie.
Hello there, good evening and welcome to the business segment here on News 360. I am Michael Obodu. Now, the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, GPHA, has raised concerns over the negative impacts of the COVID-19 levy and VAT on goods in transit at Ghana's ports. According to GPHA, these charges make the country's ports less attractive compared to those of its neighbours.
The authority warns that the transit market is highly competitive and any additional cost could drive customers to rival ports in the region. GPHA is therefore calling for the removal of the COVID-19 levy and VAT on transit goods to safeguard Ghana's position as a preferred shipping hub.
We have a team in Lome trying to understand the processes there because it is believed that they don't charge those levies. The team was earlier in Abidjan for the same mission, and after the trip, they'll submit the report for policy direction.
During a visit to the authority, the Minister of Transport assured stakeholders that the government is taking steps to address these concerns.
That if goods are not meant for our economy, our consumption, I'm not sure we have business charging those goods. And it's a worthy point for us to look at and review, such that we will continue to have more of our partners doing business with us on a continuous basis. Again, you were talking of the COVID-19 tax. I think that it needs a review. And like I said, it should be between the Ministry of Transport and Finance for us to look at.
The Ghana Revenue Authority, GRA, has emphasized the need for tax administrators to stay up to date with digitization and innovation in revenue mobilization. Acting Commissioner General Anthony Kwesi Sapong, speaking at the 11th West Africa Union of Tax Institutions Annual Tax Conference, highlighted the authority's commitment to enhancing domestic tax revenue mobilization.
The Commissioner General stressed that tax administrators must overcome the challenges posed by digitalization in their daily activities, emphasizing the importance of leveraging technology to improve tax compliance and revenue collection.
GRA, for example, in the last 2 years, has commenced investment in e-commerce. The whole idea is to ensure that as the taxpayers' businesses evolve, as tax administrators, we also evolve alongside. That way, we can bring efficient tax administration into doing our work and be able to mobilize the tax revenue as needed from us.
Meanwhile, Chairperson of the Society for Women in Taxation, West Africa, Esi Sam, pointed out the significance of the informal sector, particularly women, in raising more tax revenue.
Women plays a very significant role, and the activities are so enormous in economic development of the nation. Though most of them are in the informal sector, we need to educate the women, and when we educate the women and they understand issues, paying taxes becomes easier for them.
Ghana Savings and Loans Industry is pushing for a regulatory reclassification, arguing that its current designation does not accurately reflect its financial strength and market position. Chief Executive of the Ghana Association of Savings and Loans Companies, Trineboa Kodua Boache, is urging the Finance Ministry and the Bank of Ghana to support a rebranding effort that would better position the sector.
Ghana's savings and loans industry serves over 7 million clients across the country, with a total asset base of 9.63 billion cedis and total deposit of 6.1 billion cedis as of December 2024. The savings and loans industry is pushing for a regulatory reclassification, arguing that its current designation does not accurately reflect its financial strength and market position.
The Bank of Ghana here as a policy direction that you are supporting the development of the middle tier and that we deserve to be called a bank because our balance sheet is more than some banks 5 years or 10 years ago.
The association also wants government to speed up the implementation of a national microfinance policy.
It was necessary for us to have a policy direction for the non-bank sector. And this was actually developed with support from GIZ last year, 2024. We had a change in government, and now a new government has come in, and so we are following up with the Ministry of Finance to make sure that it receives cabinet approval and then is duly implemented.
Speaking at the launch of Ghana Association of Savings and Loans Companies' 5-year strategic plan, a representative of the sector minister, Andrew Amexin, assured of government support.
We are looking at how best we can work out once the policy is passed, we should be able to implement it to the latter. So be assured that the policy, we are working on it, and by God's grace, we'll get it passed this year. But I don't think that it may need an ally. I think it will need an executive instrument.
And that'll be all for the business segment here on News 360. I am Michael Obodu. Up next, the sports.
Hello, good evening and welcome to the sports segment here on News 360 with me, Oreku Ampofo. In a few hours, the Superzonal competition will take place across multiple regions in the country with young athletes from secondary schools set to compete for laurels. Mfantsipim School have won the competition for the past 3 consecutive times and are looking to do it again. My colleague Billy Shen is stationed in Cape Coast and ready to report for the details for the upcoming event.
Mfantsipim School have won the Superzonal competition back to back, and they are now looking forward to winning it for the 4th time in a row as they go to the Cape Coast Stadium on Thursday, the 27th of February, alongside other schools. Now, one of the key men for this team is Joseph Ando Kofi, who currently holds the 100-meter record and 200-meter records. And now that particular athlete is looking forward to breaking that record again, this time in Cape Coast.
I want to break my own record and set new record, and that will be there like, let me say 50 years or 50 years and above. Yeah.
There was an occasion where Mfantsipim School won the Superzonals on 5 different years in a row, but they still have to win one more to match up to the total number that St. Augustine's College have won. And the students, the athletes, are looking forward to that challenge.
I was so feeling good. I was surprised. I don't even know I can do it. I want to break that record. Maybe 13 point something.
Of course, in the girls division, Edinaman SHS are currently holding that title, and the likes of Wesley Girls and Holy Child will also be looking at winning it. And of course, it's going to be an action-packed next 2 days on Thursday and on Friday as the best schools in Cape Coast battle for laurels in the Superzonal competition. Relation for 3 Sports from Mfantsipim School, Cape Coast.
So you do want to stay with us as we'll be bringing you updates on the Superzonal competition. But let's move on here and do some more stories where the Ghana Football Association has announced March 7 as the recommencement date for the Ghana Premier League after a brief hiatus due to the unfortunate demise of Kotoko fan Francis Frimpong. My colleague Mutala Yakubu has more in the following report.
After weeks of no matches in the Ghana Premier League, the Ghana Football Association have set March 7th as the resumption day for the league. Games for match day 20 were suspended after Kotoko's beloved fan Nana Pole was stabbed to death at Nswatre. This development forced the stakeholders of the game to withhold the remaining matches to fix security lapses of the Ghana Premier League. Several workshops and meetings, including ESCO meetings, various clubs, match commissioners and fans were held. GFA General Secretary Prosper Harrison Ado highlights some of the safety protocols clubs would adhere to as the league resumes.
If you get to the arrival, the bus comes to the safe zone, the gate. We don't want any supporters there. So the clubs supported. That is why we've engaged the supporters group as well. They are supposed to educate their members. In that education, the FA is available, the clubs are available. Once they arrange, we would be available to help them with the education as well. Meanwhile, we are also educating the general public. We've shared the protocol everywhere so that people can read on their own and understand. They are very simple steps.
The GFA confirmed early on Wednesday that clubs will honor games for match day 23 from Friday 7th March to 10th March, while match day 20, 21 and 22 will be played as outstanding matches. Legon City's head coach Yahweh Champon looks forward to the resumption of the league.
It's very, very important because when we went off, we could see that the team is going down. So as you can see, we are trying to put on a lot of sessions for the players so that they can be at the same level. Yeah, you could see from the MTN competitions, most of the premier teams were out of the competition because most of them stopped training and give the boys some days off before they were asked to come back. So now it's our responsibility to change their mindset and then put them in the right track.
Samatex player Ebenezer Okran shares his sentiment on the resumption of the league.
I think say any the incident
It's senior, artistically. League in the senior, I bet to us. We share your pre-season matches crying, but we won't say yes, she'll go in there. The Pentam Grammar League in a class, Summer, the Sabos in the League.
Or before we go, just to bring you by way of updates, there are ongoing Premier League games, especially the early kickoff. Manchester City have taken the lead through Erling Haaland against Tottenham Hotspur in that important game. And surprisingly, United are losing at home to Ipswich Town. Later, Liverpool take on Newcastle United. You can get updates of all of these games on our social media handles at 3sports. My name is Oreku Ampofu.
Thank you so much, Oreku. Let's now continue with the rest of our stories. And the minority staged a walkout, failing to be a part of subsequent vetting of deputy ministers designate in Parliament. This adds up to several other boycotts where it felt the chairman of the committee, Bernard Ahiapo, had unfairly treated the side. George Quinian reports.
The vetting began with Deputy Minister Designate for Roads and Highways, Alassane Suhini, followed by the Deputy Minister Designate for Justice and Attorney General, Justice Srem Sai. What started as a smooth vetting turned sour when the minority leader and chairman clashed over claims of interjection. Alexander Penyo-Markin was asked to withdraw the use of whimsical and capricious as his description of the chairman's interjection of his questions to the nominee, which he refused.
I insist that you withdraw the word that I'm being whimsical and capricious.
Chairman, I will not withdraw. I'm sorry. I will not withdraw. You rudely overruled me. I will not withdraw.
I would again ask that you withdraw the word rudely.
Chairman, one more time, I will not withdraw. I'm sorry.
The chairman was compelled to exert his powers by truncating the minority leader's line of questioning. Prior to the vetting of the Deputy Minister Designate for Lands and Natural Resources, members had to go for conclave, and the result was a minority boycott, absenting themselves from the vetting of the two other nominees for the day.
Minority caucus hereby rejects the nomination of the Deputy Attorney General, and that the decision of it would be solely yours as a majority caucus. For today, all other nominees, in furtherance of our protests, we are also rejecting them, and then your decision, it will remain your decision as majority caucus.
This adds up to a number of boycotts where the side felt unfairly treated.
It's now time for entertainment news.
The entertainment news segment is brought to you by Napa Foods, Heaven Black Insecticide Spray and Coil, powered by 3 Entertainment.
Well, good evening and welcome to the entertainment news segment here on News360. My name is Noella Donko. Now, the National Theatre has opened a book of condolence for its esteemed member, Mauli Yao Semevo, who passed away on February 20 at Accra's Ridge Hospital. His death at the age of 63 marks the end of a remarkable career during which he became a symbol of resilience, cultural pride, and artistic excellence.
Two of you, look at your hair. Hey, you either cut it or braid it.
The veteran actor, whose commanding stage presence and cinematic brilliance defined generations of storytelling, had a remarkable career. Born and raised in Choko, Accra, Mauli Semevo's journey into acting began under humble circumstances. He attended Cambridge Preparatory School before moving to Presbyterian Training College, where he discovered his passion for drama. The National Theatre has opened a book of condolence as Ghana bids farewell to one of its finest artists. Semevo's influence extended beyond the stage and screen. He was deeply committed to mentoring young actors, emphasizing authenticity and cultural pride in their craft.
Well, everybody is unique in his own way. To get Mauli is, of course, impossible. But the young ones are coming, and I wish that they would take their time to learn like we did. I mean, he calls me Uncle, and I also respond, oh, Buto, you know, and we converse. He was a light-hearted person. I think that a character like him, if you ask me, I'll say that he had already acquired his space in heaven. Yeah.
His legacy continues to inspire and will be remembered by all who had the privilege of witnessing his work. May his soul continue to rest in peace. Let's now take a look at the newly appointed officials by the president, as announced earlier today, who will play pivotal roles in advancing Ghana's tourism, arts and creative industries. His Excellency John Dramani Mahama has appointed the renowned media personality, fashion entrepreneur and cultural ambassador Kofi Ochredako as the presidential advisor on diaspora affairs. With his extensive experience in connecting Ghana to its global diaspora, KOD's appointment highlights President Mahama's commitment to strengthening ties with Ghanaians abroad, fostering investment opportunities and promoting cultural and economic collaboration. In addition, venerated Guinean musician and entrepreneur Rex Owusumafo, popularly known as Rex Omar, has been appointed as the presidential staffer for the Black Star Experience. The Black Star Experience is the NDC's flagship culture, art and tourism initiative aimed at redefining and affirming Guinean identity, attracting investments, creating new job opportunities, and boosting tourism. This year-round celebration will cover all major entertainment, artistic, and educational disciplines. Also on the list of appointments is celebrated media personality and tourism advocate Abeku Santana, who has been named Deputy Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Tourism Authority, that's the GTA. This strategic appointment aligns with Ghana's vision on becoming the premier tourism destination. Well, that's it for the entertainment news segment here on News 360. My name is Noella Donko.
Coming up, international news.
Donald Trump says Ukraine's President Zelensky will sign a very big agreement in the U.S. on Friday. The U.S. and Ukraine have been discussing a deal to share Ukraine's mineral wealth in return for past U.S. aid and possibly future security guarantees. Earlier, Zelensky said there were no security guarantees yet in the mineral deal between Ukraine and the U.S. Trump says that American taxpayers shouldn't be paying the bill for Ukraine more than the Europeans are paying. The U.S. president also suggests a ceasefire deal is close, saying, "We are going to make a deal with Russia and Ukraine to stop killing each other." Trump calls this a very important thing and a big accomplishment, and tells reporters in the room that his team will keep them advised on progress. The UK's decision to suspend some aid to Rwanda is punitive, authorities in the East African country have said. In a statement, the UK said it was against Rwanda's support for the M23, a rebel group that has captured swathes of Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo in a deadly uprising. Rwanda used to deny backing the M23, but recently it has adopted a more defensive line.
And that's how we bring the bulletin to an end. Thank you for watching. I am Martin Asiedu Date.
And I am Portia Gabor. Good evening.